Good afternoon once again. Hello, hello. Is anybody out there? I'm just going to give it a few moments. Wait for people to catch up to the fact that I'm online now. Hey, somebody's there. Greetings. Please let me know if you can hear me. Can you message Kathleen? Let me know. We had trouble with the microphone the other day. Can you hear me okay, Kathleen? Hey, Trish. Hi, Trish. Can you hear me? Is the microphone working? Excellent, excellent. Techno troubles the other day. Thank you, Kathleen, too. Welcome. What is today? Oh my goodness, Thursday, October 8th, 2020. Yeah, it's still 2020. Although we may be rushing ourselves thinking, oh, well, the end of the year, it's all going to be a new year. It's going to be different. It'll be different. It's not going to be the same as this year, but it's going to be not less strange, just different strange. Okay, I want to get into the nitty-gritty. As if you didn't catch my post at the earlier today, I had somebody commenting on my farewell address video that they were concerned, in fact, about the astrological effects. What's going on? What is going on? Doggone it. And what was the question? She said, when are the planets going to start giving us some relief from all of the craziness, all the nonsense? Or something akin to that. It's not a direct quote, it's paraphrased. So I said, I'll check out the current astrological weather because these are markers for us. They don't determine our reality or experience, but they do color it. They do impel certain things to be reflected and manifested out of the collective consciousness. If you want to know more about astrology or want to know more about your astrology, or you want to know more about how does this work and really, am I a co-creator or a participant with my astro events and astro influences, I would say yes to that. But if you want to know more and you've never had a chart done, if you've never had, I do a special one called Soul Destiny, which really goes much deeper, more psychological and spiritual, then get a hold of me. Direct message me on this platform, or you can, I'll mention my email address at the end, or put it in the comments. The website's easy, isaacgeorge.com, so I'm not going to bore you with any more of that. No infomercial here. Good afternoon, Carl. Good afternoon, Lou. I like to say hi as much as I can. I don't want to get off tangent and keep just making this a cup of tea moment when we're all just sitting around enjoying each other's company. But I got some things to cover. So 2020 is almost over. I mean, we literally only have, 70 days left or so. Seems like not much, right? But it's going to be so jam-packed that you'll think it's like another 6-month stretch. So to answer the query of Helen, who said, when are the planets going to start giving us some relief? They're not responsible for that. We're responsible for the relief or the choice to change what our response or reactions are to what is happening. It's not saying that everything is out of our control, but there are a lot of things that we would be silly to try to control. It's a matter of response and shift. Be able to, I have to insert this one. Howdy from Trumpylvania. That's the state of Pennsylvania, where I'm from. My good friend over there in Emmaus, Pennsylvania, made a comment about Trumpylvania. I think that's cute. I have a friend of mine, to digress a little bit, a friend of mine in Seattle who has all kinds of names for Trump, including the Antichrist. but all kinds of names for the corona or COVID thing. One of them is I used this morning in my post about us doing a live this afternoon called the granola virus. That is it, the granola virus. So we have to kind of play fast and loose with what's going on because it seems like the powers that be are playing fast and loose with us. So what we've got to cover here is that, yes, Pluto's gone direct, and everybody goes, breathes a sigh of relief. Oh, wow, that's done. Well, yes and no. We got coming up on the 16th. I mentioned this a few days ago. I mentioned it in my chat with Lou Martin yesterday. Very kind of interesting aspects. Oh, gosh. I get a call at the most inopportune time. Sorry about that. I have to correct that little piece of nonsense if I can possibly do it. Okay. Mute everything. Sorry for the interruption, folks. There we go. All right. And the bobbing up and down. So the 14th to the 16th are going to be kind of strange. The sun and moon are at 23 Libra. That sounds great. Very empowering. Very, moving forward with deliberation and love, looking balance, seeking balance, having a sense of empowerment, really, about how to love in a new way, how to express love in a new way, how to explore. It's funny that this exact lunation is happening, though, square to Pluto at 22 Capricorn, the sun and the moon at 23 Libra. And on top of that, we have Mars opposing it with the planetoid Eris and Black Moon Lilith. Now, planetoid Eris is a representative of the archetype having to do with truth, with a capital T, and having to do with truth in terms of relationship to power and upsetting power. The mythology of Eris is very interesting. She was an uninvited guest to the wedding of Helen of Troy by the gods and goddesses of Olympia, or Olympus, and she left behind a present which caused a lot of dissension and contestation, called the Golden Apple. And the Golden Apple had on it engraved on it, to the fairest. And of course, we all know what happened with the story of Helen of Troy in Paris, and how the Trojan War began because of her abduction or willing participation in her kidnapping, and the Trojan War that followed. So the hubris of pride and everything was shown up in that. And the truth of the matter was, as godly and goddessy as these entities were, they were frail in terms of their pride and their hubris around their power and their position. We're going to see the same things happening from the 16th forward, if not sooner. We're seeing it already. We saw it last night in the vice presidential debate with Kamala Harris. We saw it in the way that Trump is reacting post-hospital stay. We're going to see more. In fact, just in the last few days, there's been all kinds of things showing up, like this new group of doctors and epidemiologists and virologists who have banded together, 12,000 of them, put out this statement, put out this document. It's on the phone, I can't look at it at the moment, but it's, they pleaded with the United Kingdom government, the powers to be here, please relax these restrictions, especially for those under 45 years of age, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. This is not helping at all. The science, if you want to follow the science, which they declared to have done in April, then listen to us and tell us, we're telling you this isn't working. This is not as bad or as what you think it is, and you're making the situation much worse. You're compounding the problem by using a test that is ineffective and giving you so many false positives. And in fact, that came out today in April and May. 86.1% of all the tests that showed up as positive for people who tested positive for COVID in April and May this year, actually 86.1% had no symptoms and no further follow-up required. So we are dealing with a lot of disinformation. We're dealing with a lot of manipulation. And these 12,000 doctors, physicians, scientists who are basically, calling the bluff, are being ignored. They're being roundly ignored by both the American, UK, and other European governments. And but 5 days ago it was 6,000 now, and then it was 7,000. Now it's 12,000 signatories to this document. I'll post it in the link, and you can actually look at it, read it, and if you have a PhD or an MD behind your name, then you can sign it if you feel that it's appropriate. I'm not telling you what to do. So from the 15th, 16th on, we've got this tense opposition to the full moon. Mars is one aspect, Eris is another, but Eris is going to demand the truth. Mars in Aries retrograde is going to demand that things be brought to the surface. Black Moon Lilith in Aries is going to be the empowered feminine, looking to upset the apple cart, to break down the barriers, to let that which needs to come to the surface be seen. As ugly and terrible and shocking as it might be, this is like a early Halloween movie gift. I mean, Halloween is like the thinning of the veils between the seen and the unseen worlds, all right? But in actuality, metaphysics, it's the thinning of the layer between our reality system, our particular frequency on the electromagnetic spectrum, and the lower astral realm, which of course is sometimes populated with very benign and helpful beings, and sometimes full of mischief makers and downright hostile entities. So, the things that have been working behind the scenes or hidden behind the scenes or buried in the basement are going to start coming up en masse. Why? Because on this 2-day period is when Mercury stops moving forward in Scorpio and starts retrograding on the 16th at 11 degrees Scorpio, 10 minutes. And Scorpio is about getting to the bloody bottom of things, digging up the dirt, breaking out, opening coffins, looking at bones, bringing up the ugly stuff. All right, Scorpio is like, I want to get to the bottom of this business now. I call it the Sherlock Holmes degree. It's like using the end cause or the effect, and then working backwards to the end result or the effect or the crime, and working backwards to the cause or when the plot was hatched. All right, so Mercury is like thought, intellectual activity, messages, info, intel, data. We're starting to see the effects now because we're in the shadow period of this retrograde. The actual physical retrograde, in terms of physical on the chart, doesn't happen in real time and space. Physical on the chart, and the astronomy, which is the Earth's wobble, is creating this appearance of the planet stopping and going backwards. It will actually start really cooking the last 2 weeks of October, right up to Halloween. And then we have the election. And this Mercury retrograde by that time will be in the sign of Libra, the scales or balance, and still be opposed by Eris, truth, speaking to power, and Black Moon Lilith, the empowered feminine, who's been done wrong. It's like, the oppression of the patriarchy for the last 8,000 years, 10,000 years. And that's going to be a big factor in this election night, the result or the lack of a result. I got to check and see if the moon is going to be void of course that night, because moon void of course elections like Dewey versus Truman in 1950, 49, was very much a contested election right up to the end, in which newspapers all over the nation declared Thomas Dewey the winner, and the next morning it turned out that Harry S. Truman actually turned out to be the winner under that void of course moon. So this is really a really powerful next 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, starting now really. I mean, it's only 6-7 days until we have this lunation. Mercury stationing retrograde, Mars, Eris, and Black Moon Lilith opposing it and squaring Pluto. Pluto and Saturn both. Jupiter's creeping up there. It's moving forward as well. Pretty soon, it's only 3 degrees away from the lunation and Pluto, so it's expanding or amplifying the effects. Then we get into November. It's a whole other kettle of fish. I don't want to stick my neck out because predictions are dangerous, especially in astrology or tarot. But I think we're going to see a very tumultuous and chaotic period for the next 4 to 6 weeks after the election. I don't know if that means, if Trump loses, will he not resign? Will he not step down? Hard to say at this point. Or something may trip one or other of the candidates, the two candidates, up right at the last minute, trip over your shoelaces kind of moment, or something may come to light that will cause one or the other to fall out of grace, or at least fall out of the lead. We'll see what happens. Keep an eye, on that. So personally, it depends on your configuration, your blueprint. If you have hot spots between 22 and 26 degrees of Capricorn, Libra, Aries, or Cancer, you're going to feel this personally in your own universe, your own local space, whether it has to do with relationships, renegotiating relationship stuff, renegotiating business arrangements, renegotiating your own relationship to your own livelihood or to your own activities, whatever they might be. That's going to be important. The other thing is the Mercury retrograde. It's 11 degrees Scorpio, so you have to look at the signs of Taurus, 11 degrees Taurus, and also Aquarius and Leo, all fixed signs. But here's the kicker on this retrograde. This is the last shoe dropping. Uranus in Taurus, which is retrograde, is opposing that Mercury. Talk about sudden shifts and surprises out of the blue. This is the stick of dynamite with the fuse already lit. And that's why it's going to be, to answer Helen's question, are the stars and planets going to give us a break? The quick answer to that is no. Not even, after all this, and not even after the winter solstice, which is a very seminal moment in, our last 2,600 year history of Piscean age, because it is a profound point, this coming winter solstice. It's really a game changer in a lot of ways. It sets the tone for the rest of the decade, for doggone sure. So the other interesting point is that when we come to January, by this time, this is all leading up to January, up to the anniversary of the Pluto-Saturn conjunction this past January, which was sort of the kickoff of the whole game, to use a football term from the United States. The kickoff happened on the 12th of January. Actually, I consider the toin toss, December 26th, 2019. That's when we had that solar eclipse. That was the toin toss of, okay, all right, let's go out. And then one team kicks off to the other. That was January 12th. Now we're coming up to the anniversary of it. Again, about 3 months away from this event of October 16th. Almost exactly 3 months. 90 days. And then we find out what's going to happen with the economy and with geological and ecological changes during 2021. Political changes as well, but it's economic, currencies, and so forth first. And then after that, we start seeing what happens with political power structures, organized, corporations, limited companies of a significant size, all right? And also start seeing and getting the impetus. I think we're going to get a stronger impetus. It's time for more self-sufficiency, downsizing, getting more of our eggs in the basket of small groups, small communities, maybe doing a little bit of, your own garden work, getting more self-sufficient. Some of us will have the resources or the inclination to actually go off-grid a bit or form smaller communities with mutual support, i.e. food growing, storage of seeds, alternative energy supplies, et cetera, et cetera. I think part of the reason I'm feeling the need to jump off social media is to actually facilitate a detoxing from some of the tech, including this phone I'm talking through, to you right now. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing what I do and love to do. It's just going to translate into a different medium or translate into a more direct personal interaction with all of you who are still interested in what I'm offering. So between now and November 5th, which is my kind of drop dead date to get off Facebook and Instagram, I'm going to be providing plenty of information of how you can avail yourself of my services, avail yourself of my writings, and the podcasting that's coming, because I'm going to start doing more in the digital realm of audio and some video, certainly. But I think it's there's sort of an intimacy, kind of like old-time radio, where you've got a podcast and you can listen to somebody doing an interview or two people going into a dialogue about some particular topic. It has that kind of quality of a fireside chat or sitting around the campfire. That's what I'm going for, to create more of a sense of community, warmth, connection, and less of this Zoom fatigue that a lot of people are talking about now, not only in terms of people who work all day from home office and connect with their corporate headquarters. Zoom fatigue is becoming a real kind of almost a health issue. But it's also for all of us, you know, this whole situation has driven everybody online and deeper into the virtual world, or I would say the out-of-body world of being in a digital realm, because you are more out of body. You are not as embodied as you think you are when you are interacting through this particular area of the astral realm, because it is sort of fourth dimensional. It's not physical, it's not corporeal in any way, shape, or form. It's silicon versus carbon. Let's be quite honest about it. It's silicon-based life form in a sense. So with the astrology coming up, I would say to those who are concerned that we're not going to get us any relief, I would suggest the following. Detox as much as possible. That means spending time away from the screens. Doesn't necessarily mean TV, but that would not hurt at all either. LCD screens, liquid crystal displays, or TFT displays aren't as onerous as these guys, you know, because of the nature of the way they're designed. But here's something I ran across the other day I knew nothing about. It's called cryptochrome. Inside the back of your retina are all these little I don't know what they are. They're part of the thing in the back of the retina that translates images. Cryptochrome gets damaged the more that you are on screen technology. The cryptochrome gets damaged, actually can cause, you know, loss of eyesight in over a period of time. It's sort of, should we say, cumulative effect. Now, we have enough things to worry about. I don't want to lose my eyesight. I don't want to damage it. But I found out that I think the effects of the last 10 years, 15 years being on computers, my last eye exam indicated that there has been some change in this cryptochrome and in the sensors in the back of the eye, on the cornea as well, that affect how I perceive things in the physical world. So it is an important thing to take into consideration. The other thing is, you know, Epsom salt baths, spending time in nature, trying to meet up with some kind, you know, friends and stuff in some physical way, eating great food, getting plenty of rest, and having fun with your pets. If you have a pet, great, you know, spend time with them. Spend time with yourself. You know, this is self-care. This is self-love. It's really essential during the next 70 days to 90 days that we don't allow ourselves to become overwhelmed by everything. Because all of this is going to set up things to actually become, how should we say, a positive change. There is a silver lining to this in some way, shape, or form. But we are responsible for putting that silver lining there. It's not going to be done for us, all right? So then, you know, what do you do with that? Well, spend as much time in interconnection as well. But do not let the freedom to choose spending time in that interconnection be predicated on the fact that things on the outside are being shut down and being closed off. Because solitude is one thing, but isolation is damaging and dangerous. Do not isolate yourself, whether it's from spirit, but don't isolate yourself from your body by spending too much time online. Don't isolate yourself from nature, from other people, or from things that are organic and alive. All right, silicon isn't alive. It isn't something that grows, except in a laboratory. They can grow silicon crystals. But it's really essential, because I think we're going to see a lot of things come to light and a lot of things change very quickly between October 16th and November 16th, all right? I'll get into the November stuff, the details of that in November, in the first week in November. So let's see what happens on the other side of the election before I start getting into breaking down November and December, but mostly November. So it's really, you can't go too far out. You can look at some of the long-term stuff and make guesses about it, or just, educated guess, all right? But it's still a guess. Don't think that everything is written in stone. And, you have a part to play in it. You have a chance to influence or change things, especially in your own experience, especially in your own life, and especially in the lives of those close to you. So, don't be intimidated. Don't be cowed. Don't be depressed about it. That's the worst thing in the world for your health and for your, health on all levels, the spirit, mind, body, emotions, physical, everything. And being able to make accurate and timely decisions when you need to make them. So, everything, I would say, for the next 3 months, everything that you need is supplied on an as-needed basis. Everything that you have to respond to, you will know what to do in the moment if you're tuned in and tapped in enough. Too much overthinking is not really going to work, especially over the next 4 weeks. Don't overthink things. And try to manage the amount of input of what everybody's throwing at you, whether it's news articles or videos from YouTube, or whatever it is. Manage your data input and your data stream and your time with it in a wise way. So that's basically it. So if anybody out there listening to this, or anybody you share it with, or anybody who happens to watch it later, has any questions or wants to get stuck into finding out, well, what does this all mean for me, and how am I going to work it? How am I going to work the energies of these times so that I can find the best opportunities for myself, navigate my way through some of the chaotic stuff, and do so in a way in which I can stay effective, I can stay calm, I can stay in my center. I will repeat again, one of the wisest things I've run across in recent times, a quote by Dr. James Peebles, an old Scottish physician. It's not about being selfish to look after yourself, it's about being centered in self. So on that note, I'm going to say adios from now. Thanks for hanging out for 30 minutes or so with me. And, I really appreciate the fact that you're getting on board here with me over the last 3 weeks or so of my time on this platform. And love you all. Take care. Blessings on your journey. And I look forward to hearing from you one way or the other, either on the next edition, which will be next week, or in some other more private way. Okay. Take care. Adios.